All right, yo, welcome to the 10th episode of the Spose podcast. Play my theme song. So everybody, welcome to the Spose pod. I will never not get a kick out of the Spose podcast theme song. I think every single time I hear it, and every time every guest is, reacts to it. Shout out to Dave Gutter and Jay Brown for helping me create that theme song. This episode's going to be a little different than other episodes because it's going to be shorter because I'm going to be premiering 9 new songs at the end of it. So some people who pay super close attention to like my SoundCloud or my Twitter or whatever, you might have heard 1 or 2 of these before. I actually thought I was never going to be able to put these songs out. So I actually started like using lines from these songs in, for example, the Spose free, if you the quote unquote freestyle on Hot 104.7 I did last year. You go look it up on YouTube. I fucking murdered it. But I didn't think I was going to be able to put any of these songs out. And I found a way to do it. So at the end of this episode, I'm going to be premiering an entire project I did over the band Jaw Gems, Jawgems, 2 words, Jaw Gems. Or is it 1 word? But I made I basically made a whole album over their album, Heatweaver, because I heard it and I was like, yo! Like, as soon as you start the album, it's like, oh, my God, I just want to rap over every one of these. So I did. We can get into that a little later in the podcast, but I'm going to premiere that whole album at the end of this episode. So before I get there, I know I usually start every episode with reviewing an album in 1 minute, but I'll just be completely honest. I didn't listen to any new album. I listened to a little bit of the album by Sir on TDE, which I thought sounded like the new like Kendrick's label, like it's like R&B, and it sounded kind of dope, but I didn't listen to it enough to capably review it. So I'm gonna skip my normal segment, and instead I'm gonna do a new segment called Spose Does Sports.
Y'all, get your basketball shorts. Y'all talking about sports. Splash. Spose Does Sports. Y'all.
2 important issues on Spose Does Sports. I guess 3. We'll get to the first one first. I don't know what's up with the fucking Celtics. The Celtics need to get it together. If you don't know this, I'm a diehard Celtics fan. Kyrie was out of game, so we sucked that. It was just an awful game to watch. I literally tweeted, I was like watching Peppa Pig. Like, I gave up on the game. I'll watch every Celtics game, but I just couldn't. It was like unbearable, the game Kyrie wasn't there. And then Kyrie comes back, scores 40, and we still lose. So hopefully, it's a learning experience. Got a big road trip this week. Celtics playing the Clippers, the Lakers, the Golden State Warriors. So hopefully Celtics can right the ship and dominate these bitches out west. Secondly, the AFC Championship game was yesterday. I'm recording this on Monday night. The AFC Championship game, Patriots and Jags, was yesterday, and I'm obviously a Patriots fan as a New Englander, so you could just skip this part if you hate the Patriots. But, here's the thing. Jacksonville could have won this game. They had fucking a fresh set of downs with like 40 seconds, maybe more than 40, I don't remember exactly, but maybe more than 40 seconds on the clock at the end of the first half. And they could have taken a shot downfield. And I said on Twitter, I was like, why the fuck do NFL teams run to the locker room with time left on the clock? And, it's like, and everybody's like, they don't want to risk a turnover, da-da-da-da. AKA, they're pussies. Like, sorry if the mic just peeked out there, but I'll say it over here. They're total pussies, these Jaguars, for not going for, what are you, afraid you're going to get picked? Like, then why are you on the field? How are you going to beat the Patriots if you don't take some big risks, man? It's like, although the big criticism, so that's Jaguars could have won that game, but they fucking pussied out. But and NFL teams go into the, Patriots do it too, go into the locker room with seconds left on the clock. If that was the end of the game and you had 40 seconds left and you're down by 4, you would not be running to the fucking locker room. Why do you do it at the end of the first half? Makes no sense to me. I think it is ridiculous that teams do that in the NFL because every possession is precious. I mean, I understand you're getting the ball back at the second half, but like, you have a chance. Like, it doesn't take. You've seen Tom Brady go down and score with less than 40 seconds left. So, additionally, a lot of the Patriots haters have talked about how the refs basically handed us that game. I'm not gonna disagree. Although they called one thing, like they said there was a fumble. I think it was Deion Lewis maybe They said he fumbled it, but that didn't look like a fucking fumble to me. So either way, I feel like the refs definitely handed the Jags one there. But the Patriots, and this is an unpopular opinion amongst New England Patriots fans in my area. I've said this and people get like mad and defensive. The Patriots have been greatly assisted in this dynasty, this Tom Brady, Bill Belichick dynasty, have been greatly assisted by timely, gigantic penalties. It's happened in so many games over the course. I mean, if you were to, I feel like I've said this before, if you were to take like a clip of all the like penalties and it was just like, 4 seconds per clip, and you were to put all the big penalties, all that any teams have had over the the past 18 years, however long Brady's been in the quarterback for the Patriots. If you were to line up every team's penalties like compilation on YouTube, the Patriots would definitely be the longest. Like we get all. I always say to my wife, it's like whenever everything's going wrong for the Patriots, I'm like, you wait, like here comes the big penalty, and is that because the refs are bailing the Patriots out? I wouldn't rule it out. However, I think it's not that. I don't think that's the case. I think the Patriots lure teams through, and it's usually in the third and fourth quarter, by basically exhausting teams and making them have to take shortcuts. They might have to face mask you. They might, to undercut a route, because I think the Patriots' conditioning is just better. You saw it in the in the Super Bowl against the Hawks. The Hawks just didn't have it in the second half, and the Patriots were conditioned. I don't know, man. But the Patriots have been aided many times by big fucking penalties right when it counts. And you might see it again in the Super Bowl. I don't know. We'll see. Definitely don't want to take the Eagles for granted. Should be a good Super Bowl, man. I hate the 2 weeks between the AFC, NFC championship games and the Super Bowl, though, because it's like, let's see how many stupid fucking storylines we can invent to fill our 24-hour sports media. It's like, the story's going to be like, oh, LeGarrette Blount and Chris Long, Patriots players last year. Here's an interview with them, and it's like, okay, yes, they played for the Patriots last year. Let's run, they'll run through every storyline of the Donovan McNabb Eagles versus the old Brady, the young Brady, Super Bowl. They'll run. It's like, dudes, why don't you guys just go to bed? Go take some time off. Shut down ESPN. Shut down fucking WEEI. And you come back 2 days before the Super Bowl, and that's when we can do it. Because I don't give a fuck about these stories for 2 weeks. Jesus Christ. It's like when the Harbaugh, when Jim Harbaugh and fucking Trevor Harbaugh, or the Jimmy, Ricky Harbaugh, whatever the other fucking Harbaugh's name is, when they were in the Super Bowl together, it's like, oh, let's talk about every possible angle of, oh, well, he beat him in junior high football one time, so will that play out on Sunday? It's like, Jesus Christ. Go Pats. Thirdly, and you might want to skip this part too, because I don't know. I literally I'm about to talk about the Australian Open tennis, and I know nobody who relates to me about tennis. Maybe my wife. My wife will like bear with me talking about it, but she doesn't give a fuck. No, but my dad kind of likes tennis. That's why I got into tennis. But he's not on my level. Nobody's watching I don't know anybody who watches as much tennis as me and cares as much and says fuck as much as me. I'm literally like the only one. I'm just all alone out here on a tennis island yelling fuck. So I'm going to talk about the Australian Open, which is the first major of the year. There's 4 majors if you don't know much about tennis. Every year there's 4 major tournaments, and interspersed between them is a ton of other, minor tournaments. And this year, my picks to win the Australian Open were Coco Vandeweghe, who's an American, and Nick Kyrgios, who's an Australian. And they have both been eliminated. I was wrong. I've been wrong many times about my sports, but also hashtag Spostradamus, I've been correct about many things too. If you would put some money on the Jags, you lost it. Sorry. I also lost some money on the Jags, but go Pats. So anyways, Coco got eliminated first round. This was shocking to me. Coco is probably my favorite non-Serena female tennis player. For years, my favorite was Dominika Cibulkova because she was hot, but she kind of fell off. So I'm basically like a Coco and Serena fan. Coco because she doesn't give a fuck. She's like abrasive, and that's also why I like Nick Kyrgios. And they're both like up and I think Coco at the beginning of this tournament was ranked 10th in the world, which is her highest ranking ever. So go fucking Coco. And then Kyrgios was ranked, I think, 17th. And he lost to Dimitrov, who's super dope. The match was fucking amazing. I actually caught the end of it because it was still on in U.S. time at like 8 a.m. But here's the thing. This is all I want to say about the Australian Open. I'm so excited for the women's side of it because there's a Kerber-Madison Keys match maybe tonight. Might have already happened by the time this podcast comes out. Serena being out is kind of a bummer because Serena Williams is easily my favorite, maybe male or female tennis player. She's just fucking amazing. Djokovic came back. He got eliminated. Andy Murray's not playing. So I'm hoping for a Rafa Nadal, Federer. I don't know what side of the draw they're on, but I want Federer, Nadal in the final. And man, it's hard to root again. I'd like to see Kerber. As much as I love Madison Keys, I feel like Madison Keys has a lot of great years ahead of her after making the U.S. Open final and losing to Sloane Stephens. By the way, Sloane Stephens, what the fuck, fell off the map this year. But, she must have won that check from the U.S. Open, and she's like, welp, I'm all set. You know, you get like 2.2 mil or something. Maybe more than that, I don't know. But so my picks are, I'd like to see Angelique Kerber beat... Oh, what's her name? Something with a Lova at the end. I'm just kidding. I don't know what side of the draft, what side of the draws they're in, but I'd really like to see Angelique Kerber win the fucking Australian Open. Go Kerber. But anyways, thank you everybody for bearing with me on my tennis talk. I literally am just like, I've lost probably about $250 in the past like 2 weeks betting on the Australian Open, but I did win like 180, so I guess net loss is about 70. But I just love betting on tennis. I always just bet what the score of the first set's going to be. If it's going to be like 6-1, 6-0, 6 to whatever. Because the odds are crazy. Because like if you go bet for the best player in the world, like Djokovic when he's like number one, or Serena or whatever, if you go, Simona Halep's number one right now. If you go bet that they're going to win their match, even against the shittiest player on earth, 6-0, the odds are still crazy. So you can still win, but it's like not that unlikely that like the best player in the world is going to dominate some other player. So I did win some money on that, but I also lost them. Don't take gambling advice from me. My advice is don't gamble. It's too much fun. Okay, so before I debut this album, I'm going to do a Q&A. I basically asked on Twitter, I was like, yo, if you got any questions, hit me up. I'm doing the podcast. So I got a ton of questions. I'm going to do Twitter first, then I'll do Facebook. So if you hit me up on Twitter, I'll be going through damn, there's a lot of questions. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. Okay, so Mark Davis, who's a diehard Spose fan who's flown out from his home in Kansas many times to Maine to see shows. Shout out to Mark Davis. He asked several questions. He goes, what is Daryl Baggs up to these days? I assume he's just he's doing what he always does, man. You know, banging cloned versions of Whitney Houston, you know, eating manatee meat raw right out of the barrel on the platinum, you know, moon rock helicopter. His second question is, why did TJ quit? Diehard Spose fans will know this reference from my first album, Preposterously Dank. TJ, actually, I used to work with this kid named TJ at Barnacle Billy's, and as I was working there, and at night after I got out of work, I'd go rehearse with my band, the Danks, or I would go to the studio, and on my days off, I was recording my first album, Preposterously Dank, and as I was at the studio, I got a phone call from Peanut, shout out to Peanut, who was like the boss of our little section of the middle bay at Barnacle Billy's, where you cook burgers and make fucking hot dogs and lobster rolls and shit. And TJ had worked next to me for, we were working, 50 hours or so those weeks. And I worked next to TJ all the time, every day, all spring, all summer. I knew TJ pretty good. And I got a call from Peanut while I was at the studio, I think doing John Madden, maybe, like the song. And it just so happened to be on the mic that TJ quit, and I think he was just tired of fucking Timmy's shit. Timmy is like Barnacle Billy's son. I think his real name's like Barnacle Billy Jr. That's like or like William, whatever. But Timmy was like a Nazi about you had to be clean shaven, your shirt had to be clean, tucked in, and you can't wear earrings or like whatever. Just tried to, like a manager who takes it way too serious, and fucking TJ was tired of it and he fucking quit. I just didn't see it coming because I was like, damn. Mark's last question is, will we ever hear, you might have more questions, but he said, will we ever hear Hollywood Divorce live? Hollywood Divorce is a song I did on Danconia where I rap so fucking good. Thank you for giving me some props for that, Mark Davis, because that is one of my all-time peaks of bars. If you've never heard it, go look it up. It's on spose.bandcamp.com. Has the whole Danconia album, all me rapping over Outkast beats. But Hollywood Divorce, man, I think Sarah's on that too. You will probably never hear that live because I don't remember those rhymes, but definitely bars central. John Morgan says, who's your favorite main musician outside of the rap scene? My favorite main music, I got several. My favorite main musicians outside of rap scene. My favorite local band of all time is obviously the Rustic Overtones. Dave Gutter was on the first episode of this podcast. You go check it out. I really like this band Weekend Friends, who are popping off right now. I got a lot of love for the Mallet Brothers band. But probably my favorite main artist non-rap category is Lady Lamb the Beekeeper, man. If you've never heard Lady Lamb, go look her shit up. I saw her. I'd wanted to go see her live for years, and it must have been like 2011. I finally got to see her, and I went and sat Indian style and watched her perform. Because it's like chill, you like sit at her show, and I sat, and she pulls out her Telecaster and just like breaks all our fucking hearts. She's so good. Robin Canner says, again, the new Used album. Have you listened yet? No, I have not. I did check the first song though. I mentioned that in that other podcast, but shout out to Robin. Kyle Treadwell says, question 1, what do you think about the rise of vinyl sales over the past few years? Do you think they're here to stay, or is it a bubble and they'll fall off again? Actually, I think Pitchfork just had an article yesterday that was like vinyl might be here to stay. I don't know, man. I definitely think I could sell a fuckload more vinyl. To be honest, the reason I don't put out that much vinyl, I've only ever put out my album Preposterously Dank on vinyl, is because, it's like a 5, 6, 7, basically like almost like 10 grand investment for me, and then the vinyl takes for fucking ever. It's like 7, 8 months, and you finally get it back, and it's like you sell it and you make like 13 grand. It's like I might rather just sit on my fucking 8 grand. However, if any labels want to come at me and just be the label for my vinyl, feel free to hit me up, man. I'll split some money with you guys. We could sell literally every vinyl of every one of my albums, I swear to God, in like a day. Not joking. What do you think about Brave Browers for Creator? I have no idea what that means. So I don't think much. And then his third question goes, are you into crypto, as in cryptocurrency? What are your thoughts on Music Coin? I don't know anything about Music Coin, Kyle. I'll have to look it up, or maybe you can educate me. But I got some Bitcoin. I actually just bought some more Bitcoin when the price fell. Last week, the Bitcoin crash last week, it went down to like 9K, and I was like, blah, 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 let me go buy some more Bitcoin. I got some Bitcoin, some Litecoin, some Ethereum, but my big thought about all that is like, I'm just going to hang on to it for years. Eventually it'll be worth like either $1 million or I'll lose my money. I just look at it like gambling. Same as the stock market. Like I just look at that shit like gambling. So be ready to lose your money, but maybe you make a fuckload more money. I don't attach much emotion to money, so I'm not like emotional about Bitcoin, but I do fucking enjoy the prospect that it could be worth $1 million, and then I could put out all my own vinyl without, making 10 grand disappear for 8 months. Carrie Parker says, what's the story behind the guy who almost died at your show? This dude, Ron, who I'd met at a show in San Diego, maybe in 2014, came to my show. Ron was like rapping all the words at me. And I can always tell when somebody's like, I find the diehard fans at the show real quick. Like if you're in the front row and you don't know any of the words, I know it, and I'm like, move on from you. I'm done with you, sorry. But I find the people who know the words and I go back to them. So Ron was on the left side of the stage at this show. We were playing at the Viper Room in LA. And it was also exceptionally like fog machined out in there, like way too fog. It was I couldn't even see the crowd almost. It was so weird. But it was a weird fucking show anyways. That venue is weird as fuck, even though it's legendary. And so basically my fan, I look over and Ron is on the ground. Like I'd been looking at him throughout the show. He's rapping all the words, going crazy, going ham, dancing around. And I finally look over at him and he's down on the ground, and his brother gives me this grave look. And I stop the show. It was right in the middle of the King of Maine. I remember. I stopped the show. And I was like, yo, we got to get this guy. I'm on the microphone. I was like, yo, we got to get this guy some help. A couple Spose fans jumped in. I wish I knew their names, but they jumped in and literally gave him He was dead. He was dead for minutes, like minutes of dead. Not joking, not exaggerating. He was dead. And he told me for 7 minutes, which is fucking crazy. And so Spose fans were giving him CPR, and basically chest compressions and kept him alive until the EMTs got there. And he spent several weeks in the hospital and made it out, man. He tweets at me now. He's out on Facebook, so shout out to Ron. I call him Ron Snow, like Jon Snow, because he's back from the dead. Brendan Hartwick's next question. Brendan Hartwick says, do you ever plan on pressing another album on vinyl like I did with Preposterously Dank? Absolutely. I just covered that a minute ago, but yes, I would love to put out all my albums on vinyl, 100%. Callum, who's a Scottish bloke, says, if you could be stuck in an elevator with anybody in recorded history for an hour, who would you choose? Damn. I'm going with Kanye West. I'd like to be in an elevator for an hour with Kanye West. I feel like he's to drop some truth bombs on me and change and give me. I just like those people whose enthusiasm is like infectious, and I feel like that would be the case with him. And I would just leave there way smarter and with way more ideas than I came, or like a bigger, perspective on the world I didn't have before. And he says, who's your favorite crappy Scottish YouTuber? That would be you, Callum. Shout out to Callum. Go check out his YouTube thing. I think it's called The X Spires. Zizzo says, what is your opinion on rednecks who are born and raised in the North that fly the Confederate flag? I think they're assholes, and I want to fucking run them over. I'm not going to run them over, but there's this house I've driven by it in Southern Maine. I've driven by it many times in my life, and I always just saw like, oh, what a nice, beautiful farm. And then I saw recently they had a Confederate flag up. So fuck you guys. If you fly the Confederate flag and you live in the North, suck a dick. I don't like you. Mark Davis has a bunch of more. Mark, I'm going to stick with your other questions, but the ICP story. But I will say this. So I have these like Spose lapel pins that I gave one to Mark at the Christmas show, and he was like, what's the story behind them? Somehow it relates to Insane Clown Posse. Basically, my booking agent runs like another business where he gets merch for people's tours, like big ticket, like big, what do you call that? What do you call that? Like deluxe packages for tours, right? Where you get merch with the ticket and a meet and greet or whatever. And so he had to order stuff for the Insane Clown Posse, and he had like a few hundred left to fulfill the minimum requirement, so he just got some Spose pins. So that's where that came from. I am not in the Insane Clown Posse. Mason Hutchman says, would you ever put a band together to release an alternative punk /punk project? Absolutely. Actually, here, I'll play you a couple clips of some songs I made recently. I don't know if any of these will end up coming out or whatever, but like I definitely make rock music as much as I make rap music. I just only ever put out the rap music. Here's some clips. Mike Gallant says, where did the Spose name come from? I've always wondered. Basically, when I was like in 4th grade, we used to go swimming at the Y. Like before I moved to Wells, I lived in Sanford, and we'd go to the Y, and it was like super embarrassing for me because I had webbed feet, and I would take off my shoes, and everybody basically like make fun of me, and they'd be like, oh, they called me Spork Toes because it was like a spork. So it was eventually Spork Toes got shortened to Spose, and that's how I got my rap name. I'm just kidding. Molly, I don't have web feet. Sorry, bitches. Molly Berberich says, what is it like trying to raise 4 kids? Well, I like that you put it as trying to, as if I might fail. Raising 4 kids is definitely occasionally exhausting, but I always tell people it's like especially because we got twins. Everybody's like, oh, how do you do it? We had two kids, then we had twins. Basically, my wife's a G. She makes it very easy because she has never has complained in her life and is great at being a mom. And like I just watched them all day today, 3 of our kids, and I'll admit it's occasionally exhausting, but like I find like I like my kids way more than fucking adults. Like our kids are, to me, especially because I was always like very, not to say like conceited, but I was always just like a big fan of myself growing up. And so I was always, like, how everybody's like, oh, I'm never having kids. Like, I never said that. I always said I was going to have like 100 kids, I was like, oh, I'm going to make 100 me's, but I really do like my kids so far. And, it's definitely exhausting, but like, thankfully I don't have to go work another job that I don't like, come home, watch my kids, then try to squeeze in a rap career. I don't know if I'd be as like chill with that, but the rap stuff, pretty chill with the, sorry, I was reading the next question. This kid's Hudson says, what's your favorite all-time strain of weed? I don't know, man. I just like weed. I've never been into the naming. They're like, oh, this is pineapple thunderfuck. And I'm like, what? What does that mean? I was like, will it get me high? So I'll be honest. I don't really have a strain of weed that I think the names are funny, but like, I just like weed. I like the weed that makes you awake, not the one that puts you to sleep, whatever the term for that is. I know I'm supposed to know all this shit. I really just don't give a fuck. Everybody else does that stuff. Like, everybody else could be experts on that, and they can just tell me, they're like, this is the one you want. And I'm like, boom, cool, smoking it. Nicholas Owen says, which city or crowd was the most surprising to you or the most different from what your expectations were going to be for the show? On the last tour, I was really surprised by Austin, Texas, because I'd never played my own show there before, and I was so stoked when we got to the show, and it was like I was selling merch basically until I went, until it was time to go on, and met all sorts of new fans I never met before, and they knew all the words. It was fucking awesome, and that venue's dope too. I don't remember what it was called, but Austin really surprised me just because I'd never been there before. I didn't know what it was going to be like, so shout out to everybody in Texas. Devin Edwards says, is Bob Johnson a real story? No, Bob Johnson's not a real story. It's just based on like sleazy scumball, like perverted, like middle-aged dudes. Almost like a Harvey Weinstein style character running a jacuzzi store that I invented in my head. But that song really came from, dude, Devin, that song came from the idea of taking a radio jingle for a song. I mean, for a business, like a radio jingle for a business, and making that the hook, but the story about the business or the person is fucked up. Is that the thing I've kind of always tried to go for in my music, which is like contrast, basically. So like an upbeat, happy, knew his name, but the details are fucked up about his wife murdering him because he was cheating on her and like, being a pervert around, girls he worked with. So, yeah, I love that song, man. I wish I had done like a video for it or something, because that's one of my favorite songs I've ever produced personally, that I played all the stuff on that and wrote that. Shout out to Christina Contichian, who was like, what the fuck? She's like, you want me to sing what? I was like, no, it goes like this. It's like fucking Bob Johnson, the hot tub king, ba-da-da. And she's like, all right. Anyways, go look that up. Bob Johnson's on Peter Sparker, my album. Josh Naylor says, can you talk about parenting and how you handle topics and words used in rap music with your children? Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it's rarely my rapping, because obviously I do swear in my music, and my kids listen to it, but I'll get them like the edited versions. But our kids don't really, I don't know, me and my wife don't like swear around our kids. Actually, my wife does more than me, but it's very rare. Like, we don't really swear at our kids, because I grew up in a household where they were screaming swears, and it was like domestic, swearing situation every single day. So I'm very like cautious about not. That's also why I don't like smoke butts, because they were always smoking butts in my house when I was growing up. So I don't really swear at my kids. They hear it in music, they know not to say it, so we haven't had any problem with that. And but I mean, Cardi B, like our daughters love Bodak Yellow by Cardi B, and whatever that G-Eazy Cardi B joint, and like, so they're always singing along, and it's like weird when our kids will be like, you know, our oldest daughter will be singing along, and she's like, I let him swim with his face, and me and my wife look at each other like, oh fuck, do we tell her? No, we don't. Just hope she never figures it out. Let's see. Connor Ward says, what's my favorite movie besides Empire Records? Man, I don't know. Empire Records is definitely my favorite movie of all time, hands down. What's like another movie I'm always down to watch? I don't know. I watched a fuckload of kids movies ever since I've been a dad, but I really liked Fight Club. I don't know if I'd watch Fight Club now, though. Like, I was really into it back in high school. Nikki P, do aliens exist? 1,000,000%. I'm sure of it. There's people mad that I did my power rankings of New England. So Vermont legalized recreational marijuana, and I said this is a tweet I did earlier. I said, adjusted New England power rankings. These are the top 6 states from best to worst in New England as of Vermont legalizing weed. Number 1, Vermont. Number 2, Maine. Number 3, Massachusetts. Number 4, New Hampshire. Number 5, Connecticut. And number 6, Rhode Island. And a lot of people have been coming at me in my mentions angry. A lot of New Hampshireites mad that they're ranked number 4, but New Hampshire does not know what the fuck it is. It's like, what are you guys? You don't even know who you are, New Hampshire. Fuck out of here. They're number 4. I do enjoy your tax-freeness, and I like your state, and I know plenty of fine people from New Hampshire. But, like, New Hampshire as a whole, I could not live there, man. I don't even get it. I don't understand it. Like, I feel like I drive on 93, and it's like I don't even know what direction I'm going. I don't even understand how you get to Manchester, really. Like, I've been there like 10, 20 times. No, I don't get it. I don't get where it is in New Hampshire. New Hampshire makes no sense. So you guys were staying at number 4. See if there's any more questions before I got out of here. Mopey says, are you doing any entrepreneurial activities beyond music? Merchandise? Question mark. How involved in Spose the business / other businesses are you? I am Spose the business, really. You know, like, I run Spose the business. Spose the brand is all me. I don't have a team. I have people I trust who I go and I hire, you know, and Shane and Cam and Channing and Jay Karen and, you know, all the way back to Harps have been part of my live show. But essentially the day-to-day work of Spose, the Spose brand, is me. I do desire to do many, many businesses outside of music. I always tell people, I was like, music, you buy it once and you have it forever, which is great for you. It's not great for me. Music, it's like, I wish you had to buy it every time you wanted to listen to it. I wish you had to buy the CD exploded the week after you bought it and you had to go buy another one. So I always tell people, if I'm going to get into another business, I'm going to get into some shit that runs out. You know, I don't care if it's food, toilet paper, vodka, you know, I don't care, as long as it runs out and you got to come buy it from me again. That's what I'm trying to get into. Subscription service. Kyle Fentress says, have you ever thought about doing an album with everyone on P-Dank, like a big rap group collabo type thing? Yeah, we've talked about P-Dank. We always called it the P-Dank soundtrack. We always said, all of us have talked about it. Mike B, Shane, Sarah, Cam, Mike, Jay, me. I think I said everybody. But, yeah, we've all talked about it 100 times. And this is not a knock on anybody in P-Dank because, you know, they're driven in their own ways. But at the end of the day, I would for that to happen, I would probably have to be the leader of that and spend the most time and the most money to make that happen. However, I just was talking the other day about how I wish we could rent a cabin somewhere in Maine for a week and just go and do that album, do the P-Dank album. I'm all about it. It's just, I just wish somebody else in P-Dank would also be all about it and like take the lead on it, you know, is how, and I think I've said that to them before. Jessica, so yes, I hope we do. Jess Gillette, my homie, says hot butter beer, cold butter beer, or frozen butter beer. I'm going to go hot butter beer at the Three Broomsticks. That's what I'm going to go with. All right, now I'm going to pull up Facebook. If you ask me a question on Facebook, I'm going to pull that up right now. And we can, oh, hang on. I got some shit on my personal face. I got 3 notifications. Let's just see what they are. What the fuck is that? It's some fucking people arguing me about politics. Jesus Christ. For the record, Donald Trump didn't pay for his campaign himself, motherfuckers. You're just stupid as fuck if you think that. It's like, sure, he has money, but like, he got all sorts of money from the people who own casinos and, you know, all sorts of shit. Okay. So anyways, I was in an argument with like somebody's aunt on Facebook earlier. So let's see. So on Facebook, Cody Shields says, what happened to the album you recorded for Universal? Technically, it's supposed to be hidden forever, but some of those songs are on Happy Medium, and some of them are on the yard sale, and some of them are on my laptop. Mark Waterhouse says, when is Ak Cousteau dropping their official album? Hopefully this millennium. I would really love to see them drop that album this month. I will say it almost came out at P Dank Christmas 4 this year, but it didn't. We didn't pull it off in time. So, and this other question is, Dr. Astronaut's sophomore release needs to happen. It's not really a question, but I totally fucking agree. If you've never heard Analogies by Dr. Astronaut, I paid to get that album made, and I do not regret losing all the money because it is the fucking greatest EP of all time. Analogies by Dr. Astronaut. Go look it up. I may appear on there as Darth Garth Girth. Aaron Lowe says, if you have access to any song in recorded history and you're trapped in a building that is burning and you're going to die in 5 minutes, you don't want to... Wait, what? Oh, he's saying I'm going to die in a burning building. What song am I going to go out to? I don't know why Where Is My Mind by the Pixies came into my head right there, because maybe because I'm thinking of the end of Fight Club where the building, I don't know what's happening, but I guess I'm going to go with En Vogue, Don't Let Go. I'm going to belt that shit out. It's like one of my favorite jams ever, so I would be happy to sing that off key until I died. While I'm on fire. Who would be my pick? Scott Sauber says, if I could basically pick 5 NBA players, current or retired. I'm going to go with current NBA players. If I had to make a team of 5 NBA players, I'm going... All right, if I had to pick 5 NBA players to be a team to fucking contend and dominate people, I'm going Anthony Davis, Russell Westbrook, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and I hate him, but LeBron. So it would be LeBron, Anthony Davis, Tatum, Brown, Russell Westbrook, and we're winning 50 championships. Cameron Maris said, I'd like to hear more of your thoughts on Asher Roth and his failed attempt to sample Say It Ain't So by Weezer after I had already done it in a song the year before. Yeah, man, I get it. I will say I've thought of many things before other people, and it's frustrating when theirs pops off and yours doesn't, but that's a dope. I think we all know Say It Ain't So's dope. You know, like we all know that chord progression's awesome, and I get it. Shout out to Asher Roth. I actually really like his Pabst and Jazz album he put out after that one. Dylan Berwin. Dylan Berwin says, you've said Kanye is one of the greatest musicians ever. Lyrically, I agree, but how can you compare this skirt-toting douche to the true greats like Jimmy, Bob Dylan, etc.? Well, Dylan, this is easy. Kanye West is absolutely one of the greatest musicians ever, alongside Jimi Hendrix and Bob Dylan, and the Beatles, and you name it, because he revolutionized many, many things. Including the way people release music, the way rappers dress and what they can say. He basically tore down the wall between mainstream hip-hop and underground hip-hop. He invented maybe the most successful clothing line of all time when everybody made fun of him for it. His shoes are like the most poppin' shoes on earth. And he produces sings, raps, and he's a dad. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'd take Kanye over Jimi Hendrix and Bob Dylan. No offense to those guys who are also geniuses, but there's very few people I'd put in the same category as Kanye West. Maybe John Lennon, Paul McCartney, Kanye West. That's all I got. Adam Grand Mason says, what music app is the best in terms of making money for artists? I use YouTube Red, but would switch to Spotify. Oh, Tidal. Tidal pays artists the most. Basically, if you stream I saw it, Nipsey Hussle, the rapper, posted it recently. I retweeted it, but basically, if you stream a song 1 million times on Spotify, it's something like $4,000 for the artist. Like 1 million streams, like $4,000 on Spotify, but it's 12 or 13 grand on Tidal. So please go get Tidal and listen to my music on there. Let's see. Nika Proza FP says, do you remember me from when I was a little shithead and opened for you in North Providence, Rhode Island 5 or 6 years ago? I remember that show, man, but I'll be honest, I don't remember. Don't hate me, and I hope you're still doing it, man. Adam, I do usually try to pay attention to who's opening those, so maybe if you refresh me as to songs or something. Adam Malberg says, when you feel beaten down and depressed, what's your go-to song? Obviously, for most of us, it's a Spose song. Thank you. So for Spose, what's your real feel-good song? I will say I do literally get a message from somebody every single day. Every single day, whether it's on Snapchat or Facebook or Twitter or something that's like, was having a rough day at work, everything's going wrong, or, any of these scenarios, and they're like, I had to put on, a Spose song. I really do appreciate that. It really means a lot and gives me value to my music that I'd never imagined when I started out doing it. So thank you to, Adam and whomever would listen to that or would listen to a Spose song to feel better. For me, what cheers me up? Fucking, I don't know, man. I guess I listen to like the stuff that gets me hype is like Brooklyn's Finest by like Biggie and Jay-Z, or like I Love the Dough by Biggie. Any song by Biggie and Jay-Z will get me stoked. I also like I like the Beatles. I like Golden Slumbers by the Beatles a lot. It's one of my favorite songs. Kanye stuff, Can't Tell Me Nothing, shit like that. I don't know, man. To be honest, I really don't get down or depressed very much. And when I do, it's usually my fault. So I try to work my way out of it rather than use music, kind of. Nick Wilds, a podcast with you and Tommy Kane would be dope as hell. The two best rap artists in one state, in one room, chopping it up. Couldn't ask for anything more, except for a record, of course. Shout out to Tommy Kane. Tommy is formerly the rapper Poverty. I would love to have him on the podcast. I have a lot of questions I'd like to ask him. But yeah, we've done some stuff before. He actually did some hook for me when I was on Universal back in the day, which was the first time we ever did anything together. But I'd love to have Tommy on the podcast. I'd love to do a song. He's in a group called Beards now with former podcast guests Shane Rise and Spose. Check them out. Would you be interested? Gary N. Nikki Porter asks. Oh, it's like a husband and wife who have a joint Facebook account. Basically, I think somebody was cheating on somebody or something. That's why else do you have a joint Facebook account? I hope I'm wrong. Would you be interested in getting in on a main thrash metal album for heavy metal hip hop crossover? Thrash metal doesn't really do it for me. Like I did do a song with Too Late the Hero that is metal. But my rock stuff, I really feel like if I ever did like a rock album, it'd be very like Weezer, The Strokes, heavy Smashing Pumpkins-y, but even the heaviest Smashing Pumpkins stuff's still pretty melodic, So not really interested in a thrash metal album, but like rock stuff for sure. James By says, some of the best lessons you've learned about releasing music independently as well as reaching different fan bases near and far. Oh, what is some advice? What are some lessons? One of the best lessons I learned about releasing music independently is you make more money than you do if you're signed to a label. So it's like when I started getting, my monthly iTunes payments, once I went independent, I was like, wait, okay, fuck, let me just put out a ton more music because this works, Man, I don't know, man. As far as like reaching I haven't had much success reaching other fan bases near and far. I mean, I basically been preaching to the choir most of the time, man. I'd love to be able to reach other fan bases and more people. Jeremy Badinger says, are you going to do a track with Token? Another one with Webby and Watsky, and any other upcoming features? I would love to do a track with Token. I'd love to do another track with Chris Webby, and I would love to do another track with Watsky. I have communicated with all three of those dudes recently, and we will see. Definitely maybe some other features on the next record. You'll see. Justice Sky says, with each new album, you're trying something new and pushing yourself as an artist. What's the next big challenge you want to overcome musically? Justice, what a great question and compliment. Thank you. One of the biggest things I want to overcome musically is I'd really like to make, I really, really am not interested in doing things I've done before. I mean, I literally could make a song about, I've thought about it many times. Often in it was 2012 when I was getting broke or something. But I've considered making a song similar to I'm Awesome just because I know it would work. It's people fall for that shit, but it's I just don't desire to do shit I've done before. So one of the big challenge for me is to, I guess basically to try to make a rock album that's still super barsy. That's what I'm trying to do. And we'll see. We'll see if I pull it off. None of the songs at the end. Well, I mean, check the songs at the end of this thing too, because these are very, very unique sounding songs for me. I'm trying to do things I've never done before, basically forever. Michael Barella says, "Are you releasing an album this year of the things I teased on Snapchat? Follow me on Snapchat, The Real Spose. I do drop some snippets. And will there be a Pete and Christmas 4? I think he meant 5. But yes, there will be a Pete and Christmas 5 this December in Maine. And I will also be dropping an album this year. Yes, to both. Bruce Vernon says, any chance of re-releasing some of your earlier CDs or at least putting them up on Amazon? Yeah, I mean, everything I got is available at bullmoose.com. Some of them are sold out, but all my albums are on Spotify and iTunes. Everything from Preposterously Dank, Happy Medium, The Audacity. The only stuff that's not on there is the Yard Sale, the Unplugged album, Danconia, which is on Bandcamp, the Christmas Live album. I think the Stolen album. Everything else is available. Nicholas Wayner says, when was your first lobster roll? I think it was literally when I was 15 and I was like, this is fucking gross. You guys eat this shit? Gross. I do not like lobster rolls. Yang Vang says, of all your projects, which one is my personal favorite? I love Humans, the one we just put out. I love that because it's so diverse and musically adventurous, and we made it in a day, and I'm proud of that accomplishment. Peter Sparker is kind of maybe the best Spose album. I don't know, but my personal favorite might be Humans or Good Luck With It. Basically my newest stuff. I'm most excited about that. My old stuff, when I hear it, all I can think is how to make it better, Dave M says, not including Humans in the Audacity, what was your favorite album to record? My first album, I'd say, was my favorite one to record because it was all new and exciting. It was all fresh and everything rocked. Seth LaPlante says, who is Becky and why is her hair so good? That is a reference to the Beyonce song Sorry. You should go look it up. Seth LaPlante also says, why the elk head in The King of Maine instead of moose, deer, bear? All would have fit the rhythm. Great question. So The King of Maine, the song, until I was literally mixing the song that day, so it had to be done. I was at the Halo in Wyndham, and I was mixing the song. It had to be finished. And the hook was, I'm Paul Pierce, I'm Paul Pierce, I'm Paul Pierce, I'm Paul Pierce, I'm Paul Pierce was the hook. It was just me saying I'm Paul Pierce over and over and over again. That's why there's that line, I'm Paul Pierce, and I'm Rondo, I'm John Deere, and I'm John Doe. And they had the same verses, but that's why the verses are half about Maine. The last verse is, because by the last verse I knew I had changed the hook to the King of Maine. But basically I had like 20 minutes to come up with that hook, and I just wasn't thinking, it was just stupid. So in retrospect, I would have changed that. Dane Williams says, best non-sports video game right now. I am not the expert on this, man. I got no clue. I don't know. I don't play video games almost ever, but I enjoy it. Whenever I get to watch somebody play video games, I'm intrigued by it, but I just don't really play. Eric Nickerson, any plans on doing for the 10th anniversary? Oh, Eric Nickerson says, any plans on doing something for the 10-year anniversary of my first album? Oh, Eric Nickerson, what a good question. Yes. Matt Caddy says, what's the least favorite song you've put out? Maybe We Hate Money. I don't know. Just because I just was mad that the label wanted me to make a single, and I was like, here's your fucking single. Maybe I don't know. Nathan Skillings says, when are you bringing back Guts and the aggro crack? I don't know. Let's send it over to Mo for the leaderboard. Noah Joseph says, will I work with Noah? Oh, I think this is him. I do like Taco Bell. Cassandra Jojo says, what's the absolute best show I ever played and why? And how about the worst? Well, the best show I ever played, I'll take out Maine shows. Like every show I play in Maine is like the best show ever. Like those are all great. The one we did before we went on tour this year in April was fucking amazing. And so was the Christmas show, PA and Christmas 5 and PA and Christmas 4 and 3 and 2, whatever. But, the best show I've ever played outside of Maine was in Denver this past year. It was hundreds of people who knew all the words to my songs, not at a radio station show, not as I'm opening for somebody else, at my show in Denver, Colorado. So shout out to Denver. That was the best show I've ever played. And Chicago. Chicago always turns out for us too. Chicago and Denver are the fucking shit. The worst show I've ever played was also on this tour. We played, literally, we got to this venue, and my booking agent was like, nah, it's cool, man, it's cool. Mac Lethal played there. He liked it, da-da-da-da. And we get there, and it's a fucking Chinese buffet, dude. We played at the buffet. It was awful. We also played another terrible show around that time where the dude in Salt Lake City couldn't get the show, so he moved us up to Logan, Utah for the worst show ever. Shout out to everybody who came to that show. Well, I only didn't cancel that show because of the fans who drove from Montana. I was like, oh my God, I got to play the show now. But goddamn, fuck that show. Shannon Johnson says, are you planning on coming back to LA the next time I tour? Yes, I'd love to come to LA. I don't want to play at the Viper Room though, because that show was weird as fuck and my fan almost died. Tim Tobias, any ideas, project, business ventures you would like to pursue after rap? Literally 20. I've got so many ideas. I've tweeted several times that I will not be remembered as a rapper. And I promise that will be the case. I got a million ideas. I don't want to say them, but I said it earlier, things that run out, I want to sell things that run out. And I want to do marketing. I wish that one of these big brands would give me the keys to do marketing for them, because I got ideas. Eric McNeil says, what's my favorite Rustic Overtones song? My two favorite Rustic Overtones songs are Iron Boots and Daryl from the My Dirt EP. Jeff Roberts, do you enjoy producing or rapping more, or do you enjoy them equally? I do love them both. I've actually been producing a lot lately because I've been doing production on my iPad. I've been trying to get more into doing beats on the iPad, but I just got this thing, Serato Sample, which has revolutionized the way I can make beats. So I've been doing a lot of production, but I love both. I really do love both pieces of it, and I think I would love to produce until I'm dead, until I'm old. I'd love to do that. Timothy Toll says, what active artists would you love to do a collaboration with? Cardi B. I'd love to do a song with Cardi B. I'd love to do a song with Kanye West, Jay-Z. Rivers Cuomo, from Weezer. Any of those dudes. Or anybody more famous than me, get at me. Todd Cash says, who is Jimmy really? Jimmy's kind of an amalgamation of kids I went to high school, junior high and high school with, and then me. And, I was kind of like a nerd and a bully. Like I was sometimes like a little bit of both. I feel like I was bullied and was a dick to people, or, you know. And so Jimmy comes, you know, as a song from experience, you know. But he's a fictional dude. I made those characters up. Based on reality, though. Miles McComber says, "Hi, Spose. When can you come to Montreal?" Dude, soon. I love Montreal, and I would love to come to Montreal. Jeremy Kluke says, "What is my favorite megafauna?" Which is a vocab word I learned from Chris Webby last week. And did you know that we humans... Oh, man. I'm going to wait till next week to get into this, but I've been reading this book, Sapiens. I got a lot of thoughts about humans. There were many species of humans. Did you know this? And we murdered the other ones and all the other megafauna on Earth. Most of them. Obviously, there's still fucking whales and elephants and shit. I'm going to go with my favorite megafauna. I'm going to go with orcas. Can that count? Like killer whales? Are those different? Are those the same thing? Good question. Eric Newell says Substance or Heineken. To be honest, Bissell Brothers Substance I would take over Heineken, although I have drank way more Heinekens than Bissell Brothers Substance, but I feel like in the end, Substance will surpass. Although the new Bissell they put out last week, I think it's called Revolve, is fucking the best ever. All right, man, I think we've covered that. Next week, I'm going to be back with some guests, but without further ado, man, I want to debut this album I made. I guess we're going to call the album Spose Raps Over the Jaw Gems album. And I literally rapped over every rappable beat on their album. A lot of appearances from Dave Gutter from the Rustic Overtones, who helped me out with this album. We made this album in like 4 or 5 days right after they put out Heatweaver, after Jaw Gems put out Heatweaver. So here's what you could do for me. If you listen to this album and you think it's dope, please go buy the Jaw Gems album. Go to jawgems.bandcamp.com. Go stream it. Go do whatever you can. Go support this band, because this music would not exist without them making this genius album that I heard and just couldn't resist rapping over, man. So just huge thanks to Jaw Gems. Thanks to them for giving me permission to put it out, because I wasn't sure if I'd be able to for a while there. I actually made this while I was working on Good Luck With Your Life. So this dates back to, I don't know, earlier 2016-ish, whenever Obama was still the president, I think. Or it was like election year or something. But you might have heard some of these bars before, but most of this shit is brand new to you. Here's 9 new songs on the Spose podcast. Spose raps over the Jaw Gems album. The album.
Yeah. Mike, I'm in the studio right now with Spose. My whole body draped in denim. Even my socks. We smoking joints. Drinking champagne. With raw shark in it. About to put you in a porta potty and tip it over.
Allow me to be Kurt like Nirvana. The way you cast rock is soft like koala. Living undriven with stoplight persona. I plot till I pop like Madonna. You lost sight on frostbite. With talking you bite like piranha. I rock mics right till I'm posh spice with commas. Walk on stage real quick like pantyhose. From a small scene but my dreams all grandiose. I came with a flamethrower. You bros the same poses. As lame as the chain smokers. This the main opus. I remain focused. Bunch of tough types bluff like playing poker. I put Nikes on Ivy like Frank Ocean. I came broken, but now I'm fixed like WrestleMania. I've been Maine, but my pen game Pennsylvania. Spit academia, nuts, macadamia. Rap facts since Iraq was Mesopotamia. Bunch of amateurs, I rep Acadia. First things firstly, never owned a Lamborghini, never showed mercy. Dudes need attention, bros look thirsty. Take a bow, bro, do a curtsy. Back to the nursery, your past is shady, your future look murky. My pocket's so fat, they might do a couple burpees. I open rappers up, break apart like Hershey's. Just a local man with passion, who they can't imagine. Pants and sagging, rancid fashion, make them cancel. Pageants, pencil, Ansel Adams, portrait, appellation, preaching adoration. More congratulations, sword to pad of paper, sworn to back the neighbors. Sorta had to stop promoting, just appreciate the moment. And then it's back to work at rapping verses, taking rappers' purses, breaking magic curses, pushing product they can have to purchase. Ain't no average person, made my own inertia for the clones to worship. Life's a circus, I'm the ringleader, fire breather, Ryan Peters, lion tamer. Oh no, guess again, sweat holy water on the mic, so it's blessed again. Go forth, you hold horse, like equestrian. I'm all 10, top 10 plays on ESPN. Click here to find out more from a regular guy with same kind style shorts to enormous cyborg orc. 5 more horns on the mic, gets hot, gon' find out. Gore, sweatband, Bjorn Borg at the fork like pasta. Flow cold, St. Lawrence, Madawaska. Got me like the North Star to my North Pole. Lot of metal bars in my repertoire. Chunky portfolio, oral oracle, minor miracle. Motivation's not material. Okay, here we go. My war paint flannel, my wardrobe camo. My written make the competition shake like Tambo. My fans know rhyme Rambo. Damn, bro. 1, 2, set a cop free, found a murder weapon in his hand, he said it's not me. America. Wanna stop me, get a less hot beat. I made a couple $100 grand and they told me the talk's cheap. So careful who you listen to, I see who you pretend to be. I know that it isn't you. We're locking up your role models. The conditions that they're living through make them wanna get a gun and drop white like pigeon poop. Live from the spot where the slave boats park, we replace them with the yacht. Take a picture of it. Getting oil can't stop, got waves, mountain climbing, we gon' take it to the top. To the top. Hands full of money, hands down, hands without food, hands up. I know your kids looking hungry. Give it up, give it up, give it up. We gon' need that too. Hot dogs, Michael Phelps, baseball, racism, classism, H-bombs, napalm. I pledge allegiance. Bud Light, revolution, bravery, lynch mob, burnt cross, segregation, slavery. USA. Listen, children, open up the syllabus. White people landed here and then they started killing it. Blood of innocence under the soil of the villages. A country made of immigrants that don't want any immigrants. Flag waving in the sky, what it symbolized. Mountain made of bodies had to die for the enterprise. So yes, protest, but guys, that is ill-advised. The poor not ready for a war if it did arise. Bulletproof vest fashion, yeah, we civilized. Fly us right here, militarized. You feel the vibe? Let's get a babysitter and shelter to chill inside and hope she gets me off like a cop when he kill a guy. Move aside the curtain of pollution. Type of status bout it, say you'll do shit, you don't do shit. Red, white, and blue, the decorations made of bruises. Uncle Sam is drinking night and day, he gets abusive. Life's a bitch, but you thirst for the juices. Learn the ropes just so you can turn them into nooses. Speak about it and we gonna make you feel doofus till you get reclusive or you chuck the deuces. Live from the spot where the slave boats park, you replace them with the yacht, that's America. Getting oil can't stop, got waves, mountain climbing, we gon' take it to the top. To the top. Woo. Hands full of money, hands down, hands without food, hands up, hands up. I know your kids looking hungry. Get up, get up, get up. We gon' need that too. Way back before the present tense, I wanted to hit it like she's Kim and I'm Eminem. The way she talked plus her body looking heaven sent, I think she'd be a dime if a dime was worth 11 cents. If a dime was worth 11 cents, maybe 12 cents. It was back in the day, 1997 plus 10, plus 10, plus 10, plus 10. Had a crush on my boss as till the day I met her best friend, best friend, best friend, best friend. See, I applied for the job, went in for the interview, and then I got hired. 3 months later, skipped work to see Rage Against the Machine, and then I got fired. You see my boss, she was hot as a tape deck. I stopped by cause she held on to my last paycheck. But who comes in dripping wet out the pool? Man, my jaw must have hit the floor, I must have drooled, it's her roommate. Not lying, man, this chick was looking too great. I wanted to move into get the suitcase. I'm looking at her with my who the fuck are you face. But she wasn't feeling it. I pieced, thought about her for a week. Didn't know her first name, told my boss I want a freak. Told her I want to bleep, probably sounded like a creep. Told her that chick your roommate, she's the girl of my dreams. 3 weeks later saw them both down at Vinny's. I was 21 way before I made Jimmy. I was on my 5th Alizé mixed with Henny. Drunk plus blunts got killed like Kenny. Then I saw her standing there hotter than an owl, looking like black. Drunk me told me walk up right now. I approached, now she stand directly next to me. She making jokes, personality impressing me. She's funny, smart, plus spicy like a recipe. The type to make construction workers whistle like a referee. But also fucking good at Jeopardy. I asked her to dance and she rejected me. She lied to me, told me that this dude was her brother and she had to hang with her brother. It wasn't even her brother. Ouch. She was clearly unimpressed with me, but that night my boss had sex with me. Way back before the present tense, I wanted to hit it like she's Kim and I'm Eminem. The way she talked plus her body looking heaven sent, I think she'd be a dime if a dime was worth 11 cents. 11 cents. With the building looking run down. Unjust injustice, nothing dumb about. Shots fired, having fun now. Better get your guns out, get your guns out. Dow Jones bailing out here on Wall Street. Mr. Jones balling out here on Broad Street. And the sun went dark from the cop heat. No law, so she praying up to God, please. But God don't hear it cause he gave up. That or he don't exist and he's made up. Cause the kids still dying when they're prayed up. Like a hit record, man, cause they played us. Well, I just a snapback capsized. Boat full of refugees just capsized. Little boy in the ocean getting baptized. And the waves were enveloping his last cries. Taxes last year, man, I paid mine. So why's a little boy dying at like age 9? But my road's looking good, hoes looking good, Spose looking good. Don't know if I should speak, I'll freak out on the beat one time. Open up my head, let me speak my mind. Cause they got a war in the streets outside. Made our bed, but the sheets on fire. And they on fire. They on fire. They on fire. They on fire. a father from a boy, who he got now? Rappers get lit since his dad getting locked down. He repeat the cycle, now we running from the cop sound. Sirens blare, pitch higher than a pop round. Now his baby growing up without a dad too. Not his fault if he turns into a bad dude. Born into a game, play it how he has to. If you were a crab, you'd be crumbing over crabs too. Something gotta give, something gotta give now. Adults failed, it's all up to the kids now. I don't want my little man up in the big house. Uncle Sam got a gun, better get down. Get down. Everybody better get down. Get down. Better get down.
My life, can't say I didn't find sunshine in the midnight, can't say I didn't live my life. Everybody put my phone in the car, trying to feel some. Push the twins on the swings, trying to feel some. Find me sweaty at the show, trying to feel some. I'm not ready to go, trying to feel some, feel some.
The biggest expense of my funeral will be the DJ. All my favorite songs cut together on replay. Everybody get together, feel awesome. Moose skin draped on my corpse in the coffin. As he played Jay-Z, my gospel, and all the Smashing Pumpkins was bumping with Zach Boston. Blackstreet, Keith Sweat, Tony Braxton. I'm loving every minute and thankful for the fact I've been invented. A lot of people didn't make it, man, I really got to feel it. Put on Biggie Smalls and everybody spit it, get down.
If I die tonight, can't say I didn't live my life. Can't say I didn't find sunshine in the midnight. Can't say I didn't live my life. Tryna put my phone in the car, tryna feel some. Push twins on the swings, tryna feel some. Now me sweaty at the show, tryna feel some. I'm not ready to go, tryna feel some, feel some.
Find me smiling in a horizontal posture, up in heaven at the Biggie Smalls Kurt Cobain joint band concert. Me and Jesus getting back rubs in a bathtub by a chick with a black glove. What's her name? It's Nicole Brown Simpson. Prince and Jimi Hendrix playing solos in the distance. For Adam Yao, and I'm not even a Christian. Let's talk about however went to heaven. All my favorite songs playing on the jukebox. Who's that? Audrey Hepburn in the tube top. She was fucking hanging Michael Jackson on the moonwalk. I was with Aaliyah and my grandpa and Tupac. Swear to God. God was like, stop swearing at me. I was like, God, you're a crusty old geriatric. So me and David Bowie taking over. Then right then, somebody tapped me on the shoulder. I turned around, it's my wife and kids. The best thing I ever seen in my life is lit. And heaven is revealed as the 207 really did it. Made it from a sperm to a face to a person. I appreciated my blessings, I count them so much I lost count. I'm already in heaven right now, get down.
If I die tonight, can't say I didn't live my life. Can't say I didn't find sunshine in the midnight. Can't say I didn't live my life.
With the crawl and the ball, tryna feel some. Out my comfort zone, tryna feel some. With the stressing on hold, tryna feel some. Fucking going for the gold, tryna feel some, feel some. Tryna feel some. For my real ones. I lost my first record deal in 10 months, blinded by the light. From Let's Run to Red Rum, now I see it 2020 like Dateline. You can't rush in like Putin, cause that's stupid. All good things take time. See, if I sign the deal, I do it a little different this time. I make sure my albums drop like the day it got signed. So I could make it first with no interference or no clearance from the label pyramid equipped with paperwork. So no pop, rap, radio hit, clickbait, just what I dictate. I could tell the label boss, hey bro, how my dick taste? Instead I moved at a quick pace. I should've held out for 2 mil in new bills with a big face. Think about that to this day, bro. I
learned so much, got burned so much, but I made it through the fire, about to turn me up, cause I'm ready this time. I said I'm ready this time. I said I learned so much, got burned so much, they put me on mute, about to turn me up, cause I'm ready this time. I said I'm ready this time.
Everyone who ever wrote me off can blow me. Ryan never lying, genuine like pony. Tryna touch cheese like pepperoni. I'ma make sure they know me, mom. Going out swinging like Kobe. One time I filmed a pilot for MTV, and when we wrapped it up like no STD, the producer of the show phone called me. He's like, bro, yo, they didn't pick up the show, I gotta go. Never heard from him again, not a word from him again. What is shiny on the surface isn't perfect in the end. Man, I've been rejected, bill collected, left for dead and resurrected. Truly feeling triumph out from this perspective. My confession.
Learned so much, got burned so much, but I made it through the fire, about to turn me up, cause I'm ready this time. I said I'm ready this time. Learned so much, got burned so much, they put me on mute, about to turn me up, cause I'm ready this time. I said I'm ready this time.
My publishing company been trying to fuck me like they filled the tub bubbly. Put the jets on, put the Keith sweat on, lit a couple candles and invited me in. Relationship abusive since the day that it began. They took me out to lunch just to butter me up, to get me on board and throw me under the bus. They said they can't believe I wrote it, plus produced it, plus I'm rapping. What a talent, here's 100,000, get ready for Jimmy Fallon. I should have been wary, it was Sony told me Katy Perry is the type of artist they compare me with, but that never happened. If I had the shit to do again, nobody's getting $1 off what I do with the pen.
Learned so much, got burned so much, but I made it through the fire, about to turn me up, cause I'm ready this time. I'm ready this time. I said I learned so much, got burned so much, they put me on mute, about to turn me up, cause I'm ready this time. I said I'm ready this time. I said I'm ready this time. Bet it all, bet it all, bet it all on you. Cause you're the only one I know can do what you do. Bet it all, bet it all, bet it all, bet it all on you, all on you. I bet it all, bet it all, bet it all on you. Bet it all, bet it all, bet it all, bet it all on you. Hey. Cause you're the only one who can do what you do. Bet it all, bet it all, bet it all, bet it all on you. Bet it all on you. Bet it all, bet it all, bet it all, bet it all on you, all on you. I bet it all on you. Ooh.
I've been tracking the package, waiting for this to happen since before I got kicked out of band and started rapping. I wanted this before I ever wanted. Now I had the latter, but look how long it took me. 22 long years on this blue-green thing. I sketched 1,000 rough drafts, about to do these things. I clicked the tracking number, almost jumped about the chimney. When I saw the status data out for delivery, it's on. I put so much work and years into these songs. About to do something right that did so much wrong. The UPS man went ding dong, I opened the door, I ran with the package up to my room, 200 copies of my first album in plastic, man, I did it.
Something right. Something right. Used to do things wrong, but now I did something right. I did something right. All that I can never do. I did something right. I did something right.
I walked outside for the first time in days. Cold February morning, sun on my face. I finally got a purpose after losing my way. My daughter born healthy now, all my fear gone away. I'm feeling like some clarity is building up inside of me. Been high for so long, I feel high off sobriety. My teens, 20s, drinking, self-medicating. This hospital stay, sober, been intoxicating, feels sweet. I see my breath as I exhale, I feel free. I smile as I grab the car keys and then proceed to fight this car seat. I struggle, it's buckled, it's safe, isn't moving. I went from no purpose to the dad of a human. I feel like
I did something right. I did something right. Used to do things wrong, but now I did something right. I did something right. All that I can never do. I did something right. I did something right. I did something right. Things wrong, but I did something right.
shout out to Jaw Gems. Never too late to get it right, right? You still got something left. You got anything left in the tank, you might as well keep going. You can do something right before you're out of here, bro. See, I download the Jaw Gems, bumping the beat. Made an album in like less than a week. Got me feeling like
I did something right. I did something right. Used to do things wrong, but now I did something right. I did something right. All that I can ever do. I did something right. I did something right. I did something right. Things wrong, but now
So pack my bags, Put your hands in your pockets for the very last time. Everybody get my tank filled up. My work here's done. Tell them what more can I say? I'll be on my way. I'll be on my way. I'll be on my way. Way back before the present tense. I wanted to hit it like she's Kim and I'm Eminem. The way she talked, plus her body looking heaven sent. I think she'd be a dime if a dime was worth 11 cents. I went to college, came home, I'm at my mom's. Hadn't spoken in months, but got a text from my boss. She's like, holy shit, we heard your first album, it's great. And we're going to the strip club at 8. You trying to come? I'm like, yeah man, maybe roommate lab dance. Called Mike, George said I couldn't blaze, I had plans. Fast forward, now I'm at the strip club with girls. My boss and her roommate, flyest bitch in the world. There's chicks naked, but I'm focused on her roommate's features. She tells me she's a teacher, then there's Biggie on the speakers, and she's rhyming every word, spitting lyrics out her mouth. Then the next thing I know, we're making out. Bro, I made it, you can pack my bags. Put your hands in your pockets for the very last time. Everybody get my tank filled up. My work here's done. Tell me what more can I say? I'll be on my way. I'll be on my way. I'll be on my way. Fast forward 3 months, now she's pregnant. Luckily, she's a smart that I guess independent. Even more impressive than my first impression. And my boss moves out. I'm in the room she rented, now I'm making songs. Second album in the works, it's gonna be on. Plus I'm about to have a kid, it better rock. Working 60-hour week, shit, I might need another job. But peep the montage, signing up for unemployment, new album arrives, U-Haul fills up, alopecia develops, a girl is born, delivering a pizza, settling Catan with a baby on my lap, hands buying albums, signing autographs. She helped me put the second project out when I was unemployed. Now the single Bingo on the radio is making noise. She's like a song without the vocals, she been instrumental. Kissed her cause tonight I got a show in Sacramento. Better pack my bags. Put your hands in your pockets for the very last time. Everybody get my tank filled up. My work here's done, so what more can I say? I'll be on my way. I'll be on my way. I'll be on my way. Everybody go buy the Jaw Gems album. jawgems.bandcamp.com is called Heat Weaver, and all these beats are from that album, and I made this album in 4 days.